Howdy, gang. This is Alan the RDN scale, and we're kind of going to do here a technical video and kind of the technical side of the spectrum here of the in the model trains, and pass on some info and kind of what we learned talking to a gentleman at Miller Engineering Signs, and something that I learned from him. I didn't see, or I haven't seen it. I have not seen it. I see lots of sign hookups, and that's good to see because you can see the different things of the signs. But this is kind of the technical aspect of it, and we're going to share with you what we learned from the gentleman that I talked to, and pass this on, and maybe when you're making that decision to get your sign, or making a decision to buy 2 or 3 signs, and you're wanting to hook up the signs, this may help in doing that. Let me pause this just a second. I'm going to get this piece of paper here that I want to show to you guys from Miller. Okay, gang, we're back. Here's what I wanted to show you, and this here goes with the track power, or comes. This little device runs off of track power, and then it can run your signs. It can run, they say, up to I think up to 10 signs. This is the 4804 right there, and the white power leads that go out of it and go to said transformer or said device that sends the voltage to it. It can be hooked up any way. Your red power leads right there that come out of the board on this end has to be hooked up to the red and black that comes off of your sign, like right here. You see that? You see right there the sign there? The sign has its own little cords, and then it's red and black. Of course, I've got mine extended using some Kato wire, 24 gauge wire, and the red wire's hooked up to the blue, and the white is to the black, and I've got that mounted in over here. And so that's how we have that set up. I have that then set up going to, if you can see right there, it goes underneath of the transformer, my Rail Power 1370, and instead of going on the AC accessory leg side of it, I've got it going off of the DC side. Here's why I show you why I'm doing that. And I'll show you here on this piece of paper. Give me just a second, and I'll show you here on the paper here. Okay, I'll let you guys read this, or I'll read along with the words here. It says, your converter has 2 sets of leads. The white leads are your input side that connects to the power source, which can be AC or DC, from 5 to 17 volts max. The white leads will usually be hooked up to the accessory side, but I hooked it up to the DC side because I can regulate the power, and when you don't want when you don't want an extra power of going to that little accessory there, running it on the DC side is better. It says the white leads will usually be hooked up to the accessory side of your train transformer, but can use almost any power source that is from 5 to 17 volts. The converter will not work with an input voltage less than 5 volts and is meant to work with Miller Engineering AC adapters. Is not meant to work with Miller Engineering AC adapters. That means the AC adapter that you get the wall wart, it doesn't work with that. It says to hook up your sign, you will first need to cut the battery pack off your sign. Test your sign first on batteries to make sure they are working. Once the battery pack is cut off, the red and black wires go to the red and white from the converter. If you're hooking up more than one sign, they are hooked up in parallel, meaning all red wires go to one and all white wires go to the white on your converter side. Do the same for the black wires. You may need additional wire if your sign is mounted a distance from the converter. Your converter will run up to 6 signs. You can mount your converter module with double-sided foam tape or hot melt glue, is what it's showing. Well, when I was checking the accessory side of my controller, it was way more than, it was not that the accessory side or there's anything with the power pack. It just puts out a way more voltage than what you may want to run that sign. Or if you only have one sign. If you're only running one sign, and that's what I'm doing right now, you don't really want a full beater load of juice going to it. So what I do, or what I done, I went to the accessory side of my Railpower 1370. And what I'm going to show on here with my Kato power pack, and I'll tell you, if you have an older Kato power pack, like the one that I've got that you can see here, it's the old light blue one, model number 22-0114, and got the little glowing light. It's perfect, to run the sign with. You can set your cord up, and I've got mine hooked up to my Innova 3320, and I've got these using Wago connectors. I've got the blue going to the red, white going to the black, just like it shows coming out the port. And we're gonna kick this on, and I'll show you the voltage here. Okay, there is, and this is something else that's nice about this. Right now, the Kato is not putting out anything. It's not putting out. The dial is up, but it's not putting out any juice. As soon as I turn this here off a brake, there she is. She's putting out 4.5 volts. Now, if you look, and I'll show you here. And if you look when you get your signs will say your animated sign runs on 3 AAA batteries at 4.5 volts and is programmed with 46 different chase patterns. Pushing the button, will change the chase pattern and stuff like that. but it says on there 4.5 volts. So when I went to hook up the battery pack, I was wanting to see what the voltages was, and the batteries that I had in there might have been slightly weaker, and they were putting out about 4.12 to about 4.10. This is 4.5. Now, you can, with this being regulated, or with this being, a dial here, you can, as you can see, my finger, I'm just barely touching this. The volts are slightly moving, and if you want to dial up 5 volts, or you're running, like you have a sign like I do, one sign, and you decide, hey, I want to put on another sign, or maybe 3 signs, you can dial her up, slowly back her down, find that place that you want to go, and there's about 5.06. Keep backing her off just a little bit, and you're going to drop her down to 03 to 04. And from 4.99 to about 5. And just a touch, you're at 5. And I'd say probably if you wanted it 5.02 or 5.00, it'll stay right there. Now, something that's cool, again, you can reach here. I have it in, doesn't matter if you have it in reverse or forward, it doesn't matter how you have it. You flip that, she's going to swing to 0. If you want to shut the sign off, and this is where you want to do it at, as long as that don't hurt anything, you probably can shut it off right there. Of course, you've got your switch on it. If your switch is to where you can get it, you can do it like that. That is something that you probably just have to see, or ask them there at Miller, and they're usually open until 6 or 7 o'clock or whatever in that Eastern time. You can talk to the guy that I talked to, but I don't think that would hurt anything. But like I say, the minute I flip that back on, she's at 5.02 volts, nothing higher. Now, like I say, that little device right there should regulate to 4.5 volts. But if it doesn't, or it's showing on your meter like my meter's right now, and that's because I'm not going through the regulator. But if you're, excuse my fingers, if you got the regulator hooked up and it's showing more than that 4.5, all you have to do to keep it in a safe zone is just take this and just back her down just a little bit, like that, right there. No matter what, no matter if that sign, that regulator, if that regulator, you don't think it's putting out the 4.5 volts that little sign needs, you can back it down. You can back it down because you're regulating the power yourself. Out of the accessories, it's like 13 or 14 volts. And so if you plug that in, you do it to the instructions, everything like that, exactly like it says, and it decides it doesn't want to regulate it. Of course, you always want to test it. You always want to test it and see what it's doing, see if it's doing its job. If you don't think it's doing its job, then you can, through running it on the DCC trackside, or DC trackside, the DC trackside, I'm thinking DCC because of my layout's DCC. If you do it on the DC side, you can keep that at 4.47, and whether that little regulator, whether it's supposed to regulate to that, and like I say, you can check that. Once you have everything hooked up, you can check it and make sure that she's doing her job. But if she isn't, all you have to do, since you have it on the track side, just back her down a little bit. Say you don't want the sign to get more than 4.5 volts. You can put it there and put it around about 4.45, right about there. That's all you got to do. And like I say, I seen videos, guys hooking this stuff up or whatever, and I thought, yeah, okay, why did I have that issue with my sign? What it did, my sign, and I hooked it up according to this right here to the accessory side, and this is what kind of misleads you a little bit, or misleaded me a little bit. It says your converter has 2 sets of leads. The white leads are your input side. That connects to your power source, which can be AC or DC from 5 volts to 17. The white leads, on the white leads, they have a little gray straight, and I don't know why they have that like that, because it doesn't matter. The guy I talked to at Miller said it doesn't matter how it's hooked up or it comes out of the transformer. It's where you hook your sign to the converter itself. Red definitely has to go to red, and black has to definitely go to black. The white wires, it doesn't really matter. But this is what I think is cool on this here, or that's neat. You can flip that like that, and you can shut it off. If you have a Kato power pack, you can flip it to break and shut it down, and basically shut the sign off, and you don't have to do nothing but just do it there. Take it like this, flip her back on, and she's back up to 4.6 volts. But you see that it's, all you got to do is just back that back down. If she does jump up a little bit on you, all you have to do is just back her down just a little bit, and you pretty well got her where you need to get her at. But the guy I talked to, his name was George. He said you can hook it to either side. Again, you can hook it to either side, and I'm sending my sign in, and I'll show you which one I've got here. Okay, if you see my sign here, my Planter's Peanut, if you look right there between his head and where it says Mr. Peanut, you can see where that had the issue. And I'm just going to send it in, and he's going to check it out and see what it's doing and why it's doing it. And he said, and you can see right there's a place right there, and I done as the instructions said, and I hooked it exactly up as the instructions said, unless that regulator was not doing its job. It is now. It's putting out the voltage that I want it to put out, because I have it set according to my rail power, the track power, and it's a little under 4.5 volts. So you can see the sign. There's my Southern Pacific sign. I've got it going, and it's been going for the past 3 hours, and doing its thing. It looks like it's okay that I can see, and but I think if there is a little problem with something like this stuff, there's always kind of ways you can work around it to make it work. Or if you have a battery pack like I extended my wire here on my battery pack, and I'll move the sign over here. I extended the wire here on my battery pack to where I could use that, and I checked the voltage on the battery pack. It's a little less. I think it was like 4.6, 4.8 is what it was putting out, and the sign requires 4.5. But just remember this: if this voltage here, like you see here, if your voltage is from anywhere from 4.5 back down to say like 4.25, like right there, or 2.0, or maybe 4.15, that's not going to really change anything of the juice that's going to the sign. It's just going to change the intensity of the sign. Your sign may not be as colorful as what you see there. If I back my 1370 down, hang on a second. My meter was hollering at me. If I back my track power down, all that's going to do is lower the intensity of the sign. The sign is about where it is when you have a full set of batteries in it, and it's working really good. So you guys might try this. Like I say, we'll kick the meter on again, put her there, and there we are. 4.13 volts. Now, I'll show you something here before we go. That's 4.13 volts, and I go all the way down here. We can pull it down all the way down to and we'll let everything settle down a little bit. That's microvolts there. That's 39, 41, 45, 48 microvolts. Okay, we'll start bumping up the juice. And in here pretty soon you're going to start seeing volts. That's 2.2 volts. That's 3, that's 4. And as I increase this here, you can see her going up. And we can push this girl all the way up to 10 volts. And that's not quite full. Going into full. There's your 12 volts. And see, that said you could go to 17 volts. And you're about at the maximum of 13 volts here. So you could probably set, if it says 5 to 17 volts, you probably could set it around 9 or 10. If you've got your maximum of 6 signs on there, you probably could bump it up to about there, or back her down. And as long as your signs are showing a good color quality and that, and I think you'd be okay. As long as that regulator is getting, it says here, from 5 to 17 volts. I mean, you're in between the 5 to 17 volts right there. You're at 7.8. You bump her up, you're going to go 9, you're going to go 10 or whatever in that. But you could dial her back down to probably about right about there. Or right about there. Now let's keep her about 5. And we'll move the hand, let her settle down. She always kind of moves just a little bit after she's been bumped a little bit. You could probably leave it right there for about probably a couple signs, and then as you need, bump it up. But like I say, this is something that I was looking for and never did see. I seen a lot of, signs being hooked up and where they're being placed, and that's a good part of the video, but this is a good part to learn too, or whatever, that, because you can see you can make the adjustments according to what you want, so you don't have to worry about over revving the sign and doing something to it. And like I say, I hooked it to the accessory side, and because it was just one single sign, it may have over revved the sign, or it could have been something wrong with that right there that could have done it. George is going to check it out and see what it is, and he told me I could he said he would work with me and fix me up, probably with a new sign or something like that. He just said he'd have to look at it and see what's wrong with it, but he said it might be a simple thing, could have been just getting too much or whatever, and it could, like I say, with it being on the accessory side, that's what could have done it. But for now, that's how I'm gonna hook mine up, and I'm gonna hook it up on the DC regulated side instead of the accessories side. That's how I'm gonna hook mine up. That way I can kind of keep control of where I want it to be, and give me a second and I can show you what it's where mine's at right now. I'll see if we can show, or we can hook that up and show that where that's at. Give me just a second here, and I'll see if we can point that out where that's at here on the deal, on the what my 1370 is putting out. Just a second. Okay, guys. You can see here, I've got my leads from my meter hooked to the black and red, and the meter is showing right now about 4.0 to about 3.98. 3.99 to about 4.0. She's moving a little bit up and down from there, but she is no more. And that's pumping off there. That's pumping out of the DC rail side. That would be what's going to your rail, and you can hook that regulator to that. That's what's going in there, and that's what's showing. That's what that right now. That's what that regulator's pumping out to that little deal right there. She is sending 4.03 volts to that little PC board, and that's what the sign's getting. Like I say, it shows up here that 4.5 volts is probably your peak voltage, and she's getting less than that right now. So she's working, and let me put this on pause. She's working, but she's not being overworked. Now, right now, I'll turn my meter off. Excuse me. She's working, but she's not being overworked, is what I guess I'm trying to conclude here. It's the sign's getting less than the 4.5 volts, but the sign has got a real good color to it, and it's not being overworked. And so I guess that's with the regulated side, or the rail side of your controller. Another thing that sorry, my finger's in the way. Another thing that I noticed, you guys, if you have a 1370 or you have not hooked, you guys are new to this. You get one of those little regulators like that. You get one, and you want to hook it up something like how I've got mine. And you do go ahead and hook it to the accessory side. When I hooked it to the accessory side, like I say, the white wires that's coming out of the regulator, it doesn't matter how it's hooked up, but your red and black's got to be the same. But when I went to switch this on right there, you're gonna hear a little humming coming from the panel there, but you're also gonna hear a humming coming from your transformer when it's on the accessory side. And I asked George there at Miller, I said, is that normal? And he said, that's normal. But he said, if that humming makes you, if it bothers you, he said, disconnect it and hook it to the rail power side, the DC side. And he said, that noise should go away. He said, if it don't, try a different transformer. And so he said it may be a different transformer that you want to hook it up to. But he said that is normal, but he said it can drive you nuts. Because he said the AC side of it, the AC side of the transformer will make a noise when it's hooked up to the these little signs. And so that's another thing to be aware of. And so I hope I didn't go too long on this little educational video. I hope I didn't overstretch anything or overwork anything, or or maybe ring your ears too much or whatever that on what I've done or how I've done it or whatever that. But I haven't seen any videos, and I thought, a video like this needs to be put out here so that if you're new to the signs, if this is something that's new to you and you're hooking up, you're going, what's the best way or the best solution? To me, the best solution is run it to your DC port, or your DC side, which would be, the rail side, not your accessory side, the rail side, your wire going to the rail. Because then you can regulate the power. You can turn it up or turn it down by you moving the controller here. By you moving this, you're controlling what that accessory is getting there. And as long as she's happy, she's also going to run this, and she's going to be happy. I mean, it says that thing has to have from 5 volts to 17. Well, it's doing okay. It's running the sine, and the power might be running through the sine, or running through that converter, but it's not over. Like I say, it's not over revving it, and the sine is doing okay. So, if you had any trouble or was wondering about it, that's what you can do. That's what you can do. And I hope it works for you. If it does, let me know. Tell me if this video helps, and give me that thumbs up and ring the bell. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do. And we thank you for watching. And like I say, I hope you have when you're hooking your Miller sign up, you have a successful hookup, and you are able to run your sign for many years. And we're going to send this one. We're going to send this one in. We're going to send this in, and we're going to see if we can get her fixed up. And this was the deal that came, the battery deal that came with it, or the sine converter that came with it. So we're going to send that into Miller and let George check it out and see what he can do. And we need a new one. We'll get a new one, and we'll have the Planter's Peanut up there dancing around again. So y'all take care. Thanks for watching. And like I say, I hope this video helped. I know it may be just a little long, but it's best to get all out of it as you can. And I hope it helps you. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you later. Y'all take care. Stay safe. And happy Monday, I guess. RDAN Scale, Alan, we'll see you.